homework.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about that and we're going to share, and you can kind of do it now if you want to. So.
It will take me a bit to write it down.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to share my screen.
Master Luton?
Yes.
Me and my cousin forgot to do the homework.
Okay. So we can actually do it now. You guys can go ahead and do it now. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some announcements while we give everyone a minute to get on here. So the simulcast classes started yesterday. It went really well. We had every one of the classes on our schedule is live in the studio as well as on Zoom. So you guys can choose either one. You do get, credit for class as long as you're in full uniform and take a full class. Let's see. Sparring and breaking seminars. We do have a sparring seminar next Friday and then a board breaking seminar the following Friday. Those are going to be the same that they have been lately. So we still are going to do those. Like sparring is going to be focused on sparring techniques and kickboxing and the cardio side of it and that kind of thing, because we're still not going to be making contact. We're still going to be socially distant. So for both those seminars, they are going to be simulcast. So we'll have them on Zoom and we'll have them in the studio. If you want to come in for those seminars and take them in the studio, you do have to register ahead of time. So you'll need to call the studio and sign up and reserve your spot because spaces are going to be limited for that. Since we still are social distancing and everything. So for the sparring and breaking seminars, make sure that you do sign up if you want to come in for that. You still absolutely can take that virtually. Those classes are going to be run focused on it being a virtual class still. So next Friday, we have our gold meeting and we're talking about success skills at 5:45. I think that's going to be on Zoom still. And then we have our sparring seminar at 6:45. So that's what I was just talking about. You have to pre-register for that. Just by calling the studio and reserving your spot. It's going to be very limited, but it's going to be more oriented to being a virtual class. So you can absolutely still do it on Zoom from home. Okay. All righty. Stars. Does anyone have any stars to turn in today? Anyone have stars? Good. All right. Aaliyah and Rylan, how many do you guys have? I can't hear you guys.
I have 7.
Ezekiel, you have 7. Good. And which ones are they?
The chart.
Very nice. Good job, Ezekiel. All right. And then Destiny, did you have some? And Aaliyah, did you have some?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Aaliyah, how many do you have?
11.
Awesome. Which ones are they?
The chore chart, the karate homework, the character building number 1, companion sheet, and the 7 tenets.
Very good. Good job. Good job, Aaliyah. All right, Miss Hannah Pinero, how many do you have?
I have 7. I have the black belt excellent to-do list from last week.
Good. Good job, Hannah. Very good. Very good. Okay. Any other stars? Landon, how many do you have?
I have wait, what did you say again?
How many stars do you have, Landon?
Well, there you got that sheet.
7.
The black.
Black belt excellence to do sheet.
Perfect. Good job, Landon. Very good. Beatrice, how many do you have?
Me and Danielle both have 1 star.
Okay.
For verbal judo.
Perfect. Good. I'm glad you guys are working on those. Good job. Good job, Beatrice and Danielle. All right. Anybody else have stars to turn in? Got everybody? Good. Well, good job, you guys. Oh, Luca, how many do you have?
I have 8. I have 1 for the karate homework and 7 for the book club.
7 for the book club? So you did 7 separate sections?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we were waiting for the sheet to get it filled out.
Okay. All right. Good job, Luca. Very good. Okay. Anybody else? Very nice, you guys. So just so you guys know, when you come into the studio, you can turn in stars for class when you come in. So if you guys are coming in, you can turn them in here. Otherwise, you can keep turning them in on Matt Chats. I think that's it as far as announcements. So we're going to go ahead and dive back into the chapter. So we were talking about the second habit. Who remembers what the first of the 7 habits is? What's the first habit? Beatrice, what is it?
Be proactive.
Very good. And who remembers what number 2 is? What's number 2?
Begin with the end in mind.
Very good. So that's what we're talking about today is number 2. We started talking about it yesterday. We'll finish up. The little homework assignment I had was this. So who did this little chart? Who wrote this out? Miss Nicole did. Good. Okay. Beatrice did. Landon did. Good job, you guys. You guys are all getting stars. Who else? Keep your hand up if you finished that wrote out that chart. Okay. So if you did not do it, go ahead and do it now. And I want you to think about that. What we said is if you were at your funeral and people in your life were talking, one of your family members was talking, one of your friends was talking, someone from school or work was talking, someone from your church, from your karate school, anything like that. If these people were talking about you, what would they say at your service? What would they say about your character? What would they say about your contributions? What would they say about your achievements? So who wants to share something they maybe learned when they started writing this out and really thinking about it? Something that made you realize? Miss Nicole?
Well, it can be a really challenging because you have to perhaps admit some hard things to yourself that people don't always want to accept. So it can be very mentally challenging and maybe even a little upsetting to yourself when you realize, okay, maybe I'm not doing as well in certain areas as I always imagined I was. Or
yeah, very good. Good. Well, yeah, there's certain things I know for me doing this. There's certain things that I'm like, well, I want people to say this about me, but I don't know if I'm living my life to a way that they would say that. So that's, you start to realize what you would hope people are saying or what you think that the way you're living your life. And then when you actually think, now, would they really say this? I don't know. And that, helps you face some hard truths. Thank you, Miss Nicole. Skylar? I can't hear you, Skylar. I can't hear you, sweetie. If you get yourself unmuted, you can try to ask again. Anybody else want to share something, though, that they learned from this chart? I think this is just a good exercise to kind of help you realize. I know we talked about it when we did goal setting last year, but the book, Brian Tracy's book, Focal Point, he talks about finding your focus, finding your goals, finding your priorities, what's important to you. And I think this is a good way of finding that, because if it's really important to you that your family would say that you're trustworthy, but when you sit down and say, now who would stand up and think, Rachel was trustworthy, and you can't think of, you don't think people would say that about you, then you might want to change some things that you're doing in your life, right? So this is a good way to help you kind of find your focus. Anyone else want to share? Beatrice. I'll get back to that for a second.
Mostly when I did this assignment, it really reinforced how I see myself, because I normally don't see myself as like accomplishing like big things or like contributing or being like the best person I can be. But when I like talk to my like family or talk to my friends, they were telling me all these things about myself that I really didn't even believe about myself. So that just really reinforced my self-image.
Good. That's really good. I love that. Yeah, it's a good way to do a live victory book, right? If you actually take a second to talk to some of the people in your life and say, now, what would you say about me if this was my service right now? And actually getting that, you kind of, even writing it down yourself, even if you're just doing it by yourself, taking the second to write down some of your achievements and some of your character strengths and things like that can be really good for your self-confidence. Good. I'm glad, Beatrice. All right, Skylar, is your audio working now?
I hope so.
Okay, I can hear you. What's up, sweetie?
My mom, I just went to my mom for her to take a picture of the chart. I don't know when we're gonna do the chart though.
Okay, that's okay. You can do it whenever you want to. And you have the book, right? It's in the book too.
No, I don't have the book.
Oh,
I
you
don't-
haven't fixed it up yet. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on from this, but good job to you guys who have done this. And if you haven't, just take a couple minutes to write down some things that you think people would say about you at your funeral service. All right. Okay. So the next thing we talk about in this section, talking about beginning with the end in mind, is a personal mission statement. So I think this is a pretty cool exercise as well. Creating your own. I took a leadership class. I took a leadership class in high school, and I took some in college. And one of mine, we studied this book, and our professor had us all write our own personal mission statement. So that's one thing I'm going to ask you guys to do. But let's talk about a mission statement. Who knows what a mission statement is? And most people know companies that have mission statements, right? What is a mission statement? Miss Nicole?
It, like for a company, or I guess for a person too as well, it's telling everyone in a usually a very brief synopsis, so maybe a sentence or two, about what their goal, overall goal for the company, or I guess for your life would be. And some simple beliefs, very strong, but simple beliefs that go along with that goal as well. I'm sure there's something I'm missing.
No, that was good. That was really good. Good. So in this book, the author says that he thinks that having a mission statement is one of the most effective ways to begin with the end in mind, because what you're doing is you're writing out how you want to live your life, how you want to be living, so that way when people are talking about you after you're gone at your funeral service, it's what you want them to think of you. You want to leave that mark of who you want to be. So it focuses on what you want to be, which is your character, what you want to do, so your contributions and achievements, and the values and principles that you want to be living by, right? So all of those things should be listed in your mission statement. He says the key to the ability to change is a changeless sense of who you are, what you are about, and what you value. And I really like that, because right now is a perfect example of that, with everything going on with the coronavirus, with people being in quarantine, with businesses having to change. You see a lot of businesses that go under. And it's because it's not necessarily that they're not able to change, because change is hard for anybody. It's not natural, but everybody has to change. Who thinks that you're never going to have to change ever in your life? Nobody, because you're always going to have situations where you have to change, where you have to adapt something. But if you have a strong character, and strong values, those will carry over no matter what change you have to go through. So going through the change, everybody went through a big change, going to school versus staying home and doing virtual schooling. That was a big change. But if you have strong study habits, and you have a strong goal of getting straight A's, and you have a good work ethic, then you're going to do fine. Most of you guys did really well this last quarter, because you already had those core the core values and the traits that you needed to succeed in school, no matter what it is. So you're able to handle change. That's true with businesses too. Us at Middleburg Martial Arts, our goal is to help our students developing the leadership and the life skills and all of these values in addition to the martial arts training. So we were able to make that transition because those core values don't change. Now, if we were a company, I don't know a good example of it, but a company that maybe didn't have core values and they were just focused on what they were doing day to day, going through this change, if they had to shut down and change, they would lose a lot of their students or their customers, because they don't have those core values. So I think a good example of this is like a superhero. Me and Tegan and Marley were watching Supergirl. Who's seen Supergirl? The show Supergirl. Okay, so we were watching Supergirl, and I think superheroes are a perfect example of this, because no matter what villain they're facing or challenges in their personal lives that they're overcoming or anything like that, their core values their loyalty, their commitment to doing the right thing and to helping people, that stays true no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. And that's why they're able to handle change and adapt to different situations. Okay. So when creating a mission statement, we'll talk about that a little bit more. One thing he talked about a lot in here is finding out what your center is. So whatever is at the center of your life will be the source of your security, guidance, wisdom, and power. So security is your sense of worth. So kind of like your self-confidence, your self-image, that's your value of yourself, how happy you think you are. Your guidance is your source of direction. So that's where your goals are, where you want to end up in the future. Your wisdom is your perspective on life, your balance and your understanding of everything going on around you. And your power is your strength to accomplish something or your ability to act on something. So your capability of getting something done. All right. So these are some of the different principles that you can find. Most people's center is one of these or a combination of some of these. So you might be money-centered, work-centered, possession-centered, pleasure-centered, friend-centered, enemy-centered, church-centered, self-centered, spouse-centered, family-centered. And there's no right or wrong or anything like that. But one of the issues is that when these are your center, when you have a thing that's your center, that thing can come and go. With every one of these, I know probably one of the one that most people wouldn't think would be a bad thing would be being family centered. We want to be family centered. We want to prioritize our family. We want to be good with our finances. We want to have fun. We want to be involved with our church, all of these things. But if your life is centered around one of these things, and that thing goes away for whatever reason, what are you going to do? So even being family centered, guys, whoever's drawing on the screen, don't do that, or I will take you off of the meeting. Okay, please clear it. All right, so let's see. Okay, here's a good example of it. He gave the example. All right, now I have to wait, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to clear this off. Okay. All right, so one example, a story he kind of gave is there's a man who is supposed to go to a concert with his wife. He's going to have a fun night with his wife, right? They're going to a concert. He gets a call from his boss asking him to come in and work on this project. Now, the way you would respond to that might be different than the way somebody else on this meeting would respond to that, right? So another good, like, perfect example of this would be if you had a play date with one of your friends. You were supposed to go over to one of your friends' house and go swimming, and guy is supposed to be going to a concert with his wife, and he gets a call from his boss. Now, if you go back to these centers, somebody who's money centered would probably not go to the concert and go to work so they can make more money, right? Somebody who's work centered, what are they going to pick? Concert or work? Work. Someone who's possession centered, what do you think they're going to pick? Probably work so they can make money, so they can buy more things, more stuff. Somebody who's pleasure centered, what are they going to choose? They're going to choose probably the concert. Well, as long as it kind of depends, I guess, but probably the concert, because the concert's probably a lot more fun than work is. Somebody who's friend-centered. This one kind of depends. If they had friends going to the concert, they'd probably choose that. Or if they had friends at work, maybe they would choose going to work. So you see how the way you respond to different situations depends on what your center is. Okay, so we'll kind of move on to that. I thought that was interesting to kind of see it from that perspective. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, we already talked about this first one. This is kind of the application for this chapter. So we talked about the first one. What did the whole funeral visualization, what people would say about you. If you haven't done that, take a minute to do that. What I want to talk about tomorrow is your guys' personal mission statements. So take a few minutes today. Anyone who writes their personal, I can't speak, writes out a personal mission statement will get a star tomorrow. Another thing on here, actually, I'm probably going to do 1 star, I'll do 1 star for the personal mission statements, but if it's a really, really good one, I might give you more stars. I might give you 2. And then the other thing that you can do is write down what you think the centers are in your life, and are you comfortable with those? So if maybe you're work centered and you think you should be more family centered, or maybe you are more pleasure centered and you should be more school centered, or whatever it is. So I want you guys to try to write down, you'll get a star if you write down what the centers are in your life as well. Okay, I want to go back to this chapter. So a couple things. First of all, I didn't spend nearly as much time on this as he went into in the book, but there is a big chart in here, and it's a couple pages, and it's talking about the centers. So this is what, when I want you to pick what your centers are, I want you to look at this and see, oh, it's just those pages. See which ones kind of pertain to you. And read a little bit about it. At least read about the one that you think is yours. So look at those. The other thing I wanted to get out of here was I wanted to share a couple of the personal mission statements that he has in here. So this is one of the author's friends wrote this personal mission statement. Succeed at home first, seek and merit divine help, never compromise with honesty, remember the people involved, hear both sides before judging, obtain counsel of others, defend those who are absent, be sincere yet decisive, develop one new proficiency a year, plan tomorrow's work today, hustle while you wait, maintain a positive attitude, keep a sense of humor, be orderly in person and in work, do not fear mistakes, fear only the absence of creative, constructive, and corrective responses to those mistakes. Facilitate the success of subordinates, listen twice as much as you speak, concentrate all abilities and efforts on the task at hand, not worrying about the next job or promotion. Okay, so that was one person's example of a mission statement. Yours does not have to be that long. And he kind of like wrote his out as little sentences, almost like bullet points, which is kind of when I wrote mine out last time, that's what I did. Okay, I'm gonna read one more. And this is what by a woman seeking out to balance family and work values, okay? Now hers is kind of written out more like in writing in paragraph form. So I'll read this one, and then you guys can do it however you want. It doesn't have to be very long. It can be just a couple things that you want to live by, or it can be long. And then what he says in here is he suggests that at least once a year, you review your mission statement and you say, now, is this still how I should be living my life? And kind of reevaluate and adjust it if you want to. All right. I will seek to balance career and family as best I can, since both are important to me. My home will be a place where I and my family, friends, and guests find joy, comfort, peace, and happiness. Still, I will seek to create a clean and orderly environment, yet livable and comfortable. I will exercise wisdom in what we choose to eat, read, see, and do at home. I especially want to teach my children to love, to learn, and to laugh, and to work and develop their unique talents. I value the rights, freedoms, and responsibilities of our democratic society. I will be a concerned and informed citizen, involved in the political process to ensure my voice is heard and my vote is counted. And that's about half of it. She goes into different things talking about finances, having good habits, different things like that. So you guys are welcome to go in here and read some of these to get some ideas. Another good example are some of the things with karate. So we have our 5 codes and our 7 tenets, which are very strong core values to live by, and really good, a really good resource for your mission statement. So if you're not sure what to do, maybe you write out the 7 habits and say how you're going to live each of those, or how you want to relate those to your life. Okay, any questions about how to write the mission statement? Okay, well, I look forward to you guys sharing some of those.
Excuse me, you frozen.
Everyone's hands. Yes, sir.
I was saying that you were frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, if anyone has any questions about the mission statement or anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see everyone tomorrow morning. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.